Alrighty, welcome to episode 170 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. In what appears to amount to a monumental error, all known Highland Model 3s currently landed in Australia lack the requisite ease of access to all three rear seat upper mount points required for child seats. Since ADR 34 states, quote, clearance shall be provided around each child restraint upper anchorage to allow latching and unlatching without the use of tools of the child restraint attaching clip to the upper anchor fitting when it's installed to the upper anchorage, unquote. It is all but certain that Tesla will be made to physically recall all delivered Highland cars for physical retrofitting and also cease any further deliveries of infringing cars until they are rendered fully compliant. This is precisely what happened to BYD's Atto in 2022. Tesla has announced a temporary halting of production at Giga Berlin for a period of 2 weeks starting the 29th of January due to parts logistics issues caused by armed conflicts in the Red Sea. It is unknown at this stage whether any further shutdowns will become necessary. Tesla in Germany appear to have demonstrated breakthrough technology which allows them to rapidly deploy an upgraded version of their V4 superchargers. Tesla has finally launched its Highland upgraded Model 3 in North America with deliveries expected to commence later this month. And that was this week's news. And apologies for that glitch in the news. That last one shouldn't have gotten through. Welcome everyone. As is customary, before we get into some rather heated discussions, I'd like to invite anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so to please unmute yourself and say hello. Or perhaps later. Now, I thought I'd get this bit early because we're going to have a mini break of Ask Us Anythings for the next few weeks. Actually, in 4 weeks' time, the Wednesday happens to line up with Valentine's Day. So it would be rather unromantic if we had a Ask Us Anything on that night. And the next 3 weeks, I'm going to take a little break. So we are going to have a few casual meetups. And the first one next Wednesday will be at the Hillary's Beach Club. So that email is going to go out tomorrow, and just thought I'd let everyone know about that. And also apologies for the news. The first article sort of said that it's highly likely that ... Well, I actually recorded that this morning because I wanted to get ahead of the curve, as Pete would be fond of doing. But it then obviously transpired that what I thought was almost certain was actually happening, but I was too lazy to change the news text. But anyway, it is what it is. Who would like to kick off the discussion? No one? Oh, you're all muted. Go, Brad.
I'll kick it off. We were sort of dead set on getting a Model Y, and due to circumstances, we put it off until recently, and we thought we'd just go and have another test drive, which we did last week. And while we're there, we looked at the Model 3 and we actually went for a test drive in that, not even thinking that that was an option. And I remember, I think it was either Paul or Pete said when they went to the opening that they thought the Model 3 was a lot better finished and, it looked more luxurious or whatever. And 100% agree. When we drove the Model Y and then straight after the Model 3, the differences between the interior are quite marked, really noticeable, and just looks a lot more professional, more luxurious. And on the day we went as well, I think it was about 34, 35, so it was quite warm. And I thought the ventilated seats were a bit of a novelty thing, but wow, what a difference. The actual feeling was really quite nice. So we've actually changed our mind now and going with Model 3. So yes, it was, it was just the differences, the little differences, but the Model Y looks quite basic compared to the Model 3 now. So yeah, that was our opinion anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, very good. And look, so have you placed an order yet, or you're about to?
We're just about to, yes.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, that's
apparently the shipment that's coming in, they've all been accounted for already. So yeah, we'll put the order in, but it will be for the shipment afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yep, yep. Well, unfortunately, what that shipment and all the cars that are already here, there's 400 cars landed, and I'm not sure if any have actually been delivered. I don't really know that, but the issue is, whoops, this. So you can clearly see that there are only two flip tether hatches, and the good thing is they still do have the actual tether point in the metalwork. So a bit like what happened to BYD, Tesla is probably going to have to replace this panel, and it'll probably have to do that for only about 5,000 cars, roughly, plus any that are on ships at the moment. So um, it's a monumental stuff up. It's probably something that wasn't originated in Australia. I dare say that decision might have come from elsewhere, but it's monumental, unforgivable, entirely preventable, and it's going to inconvenience a lot of people who were excited about their cars. And any bad press that Tesla gets, in this case, sadly, it's wholly deserved and appropriate, as opposed to most of the other criticisms it gets, which are not deserved and not inappropriate.
Surely
But
they
anyway,
should have learnt their lesson from BYD.
it's like there are job roles in companies where there are people that do nothing but read standards and check the standards issuing websites and all those sort of. It's their job to make sure that everything complies. And when they do all the paperwork, they have to tick off on the ADRs. And I mean, we don't know them off by heart, but I'm sure there are people that work for car manufacturing companies that do, because that's their job. And
Maybe
they've got
they
one job
thought
to do.
two outside ones would have been sufficient.
I wonder. It's a classic, and again, this is nothing against Elon Musk. It's a classic thing that Elon Musk would do, which is, oh, well, we don't need three. Let's just delete one because 2 out of 3 isn't bad, and let's just do that. Now, I'm not saying that's what he did, and I'm not saying that's what anyone did. Perhaps there are other jurisdictions where you do only need 2 out of 3, and that's probably fine. But to do that in Australia, yeah, especially like you said, Nigel, when BYD's Atto in 2022, they had to go and actually cut the carpet because they had some sort of carpet in their parcel shelf, and they had each car had to come in and have its carpet cut so that you could get access to the access point.
Well, they're going to have
Or,
to cut that.
or Harold, all they have to do, of course, is just call it a four-seater.
Yes, they can, and in fact, Honda did that. I think it's Honda with one of their models because the engineering department said it was too onerous to put a third anchor point, and they actually removed the seat belts. But the Model 3 Highland has been registered and licensed as a five-seat sedan. So could you imagine if you just bought your Highland and it's been registered as 5-seat, and then Tesla says, "I'm really sorry, we're going to have to. We'll invite you to come into the service centre so we can remove the centre seat belt." Well, that would go over like a lead balloon, just quietly. So that's just not going to happen. They are literally just going to replace these panels.
Yep.
Look, unless they can work out how to get like a cutting die and cut into this and then fit this flat, that might be a quick solution. Or the quicker one might be just to get a sea container load by air freight of these what's name's panels, fill-in panel. And yeah, if there's 5,000 of them and they cost $100 each, and that probably costs more than that landed, there's $500,000 up in smoke and a lot of bad publicity.
They can send those back to China to fit in other cars that aren't coming here.
If they can be bothered with the logistics, yeah, maybe, or maybe they just get binned. Maybe they get mounted. Maybe they line the office of the person that decided to do it that way. Anyway, all right,
in front of his door, Harold, so he can't come to work, or she.
their door. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, there's nothing good
Maybe
about
it's the
it.
same person.
It's just bad news, and we all saw it coming, and now it's finally arrived. And I'm really sorry on behalf of the club for any people that are super excited. Please don't be concerned about your Highland being inferior or anything like that. I did see some comments saying, oh, they wouldn't have wanted to have the car delivered that had a problem. It isn't a problem per se. It's just a compliance thing. Many of these cars will never have baby seats fitted ever, but the fact of the matter is, it has to have that ability, for better or worse. All right, let's try and move on to any other discussions. Would anyone like to kick us off? Darren, perhaps.
Yeah, I've got a question if you can hear us. Yep.
Yes, gotcha, loud and clear.
Yep. Okay. With I think it's the Gen 3 wall charger. Today when I went to plug in, it sort of come up with that there was no power coming out of the cord, so switched it off and through the circuit and then repowered it up. And when I did, get it going, sort of thing, it was 3 red flashes, then a pause, and the green going, or the lights going down at green, but it was only doing about 5 amps. And yeah, so
Is it single phase or 3-phase, Darren?
single phase.
Single phase. If you look through the online manual, there's actually a section under troubleshooting which will tell you what those error codes are. So if you look up that flashing pattern, I unfortunately don't know it off the top of my head, but if you look up that pattern under the troubleshooting section, it'll tell you exactly what the issue is.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering whether it might have been something to do with the heat. And
That's possible. Were you charging your car outside in the sun?
no, I never actually got around to charging it. But like the normal one that comes in the trunk of the car when you buy it. So,
Yes.
that would plug in and work. So we made sure that the car side of things was all good.
Yep.
So that was still accepting a charge, but the actual wall mount thing wasn't working anymore. So
Just look up, just like I said, just look up the operating manual and just see what that pattern is, because I can't. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. I could imagine things like it might think it's got a improper earth connection. It could think that the nozzle or the plug part is hot, and it restricts power to prevent excessive heat. That's why I asked you if it was in the sun, because there's a temperature sensor in the head, and if it's out in the bright sunlight on a hot day, it's plausible that might be one of the reasons. But like I said, until you actually look to see what that error code is, there's literally no way of knowing. But the fact is there is an error code, so you should check it.
Perhaps, Harold, also, being a Gen 3, it has the ability to remote in, so you can bring up the web browser, remote into the charger, the wall charger, and it may give you some information.
So we did try and, we found a notification, but it was saying about overheating. So that was back on the 27th, I think, of December. So yeah, and I thought, well, it has been hot this week as well. So yeah.
Did you have the?
We'll get the electrician out and see if he can check it over.
Well, I wouldn't do that initially. I'd put a little bit of effort into just looking up the instruction manual and looking up that error code on the LED blinking lights, because that won't cost you $1. And to be honest, an electrician, all they will really do is check that it's electrically correctly connected, which it obviously would be. So really, and all they could then do to do more error checking is just do what I suggested, which is read the instructions and look at the flashing LEDs. And that doesn't require an electrician at all to interpret flashing LEDs.
Read the book.
Yeah, just read the book. And it'll probably tell you. And if it says overheating, hopefully it'll be more specific to something like the plug, the plug that plugs into the car has been sensed as being overheated. Now, that, like I said, that could occur if there's bright, hot sunlight shining on it specifically, or look, or it's faintly possible that there might be an issue with it, with the hardware, with the temperature sensor, perhaps. But
Okay.
once you've isolated the problem to what it is, and if it says that the head is hot, you could then do something like cool it down. Just trying to think how you'd do that. You know, you could get an esky and put a bit of ice in a bag or something and sort of cool it down, you know, or use a fan or whatever, and just see if it makes the problem go
We'll probably
away.
set up an air conditioner in front of it, sort of thing, just to test to see if it is a.
Something like that. You know, there's lots of different ways.
We thought. So I thought with the heat that I would wait till later on this afternoon and try it again, and yeah, it still didn't. It still come up with the same flashing light. So.
Yeah,
Harold,
just
I
check.
put a link in the chat, and it's got there's an actual interactive troubleshooting which goes you through what wall connector you've got, what the problem is, and how to fix it.
Awesome. Thanks, James.
The second
yeah,
link.
do have a look at that, and that will guide you through it. And no doubt it'll be something hopefully simple, and you can get yourself back and charging properly again.
Also, I think the Gen 3 and Wi-Fi connect to the internet, so all else fails. Could Tesla, if you raise a service call on them, would they be able to remote in and do diagnostics if you can't resolve it first, Darren?
Yeah. All right.
It's under warranty.
Yeah, but Steve, the issue there is, did the electrician or did Darren actually connect it to the internet? Because you sort of do to your phone to configure it just using the wall connector's hotspot, but you don't have to have it connected to Wi-Fi for it to operate normally. So unless you chose to actually select...
Yeah.
Go, Darren.
So it's been configured. Yeah, I'd say it's been configured. Like we've had using its Wi-Fi output to connect to your phone and that, and then sort of from then it's always been able to charge as such. So we haven't actually connected it to the Wi-Fi on a permanent basis. It's just.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you do, and this could be useful, if you do connect it as a permanent basis to your house, then you've got much easier visibility of what it's doing. And in fact, if you log into its webpage, it may actually tell you what the error condition is with, there and then. It might actually say what it regards as the problem.
Yep, and the charger gets over-the-air software updates also.
Yeah, okay. Thanks
We
for
put
that.
our charger on the Wi-Fi.
No worries. Alrighty. Anyone else got any questions or comments?
I was like, did anyone know Optimus folding the T-shirt today, sort of stuff?
Sorry, you're just breaking up there a little bit, Paul. You said Optimus T-shirt. What was the other bit? Sorry.
Yeah, the
I was
Optimus
just saying.
video that was folding the T-shirt.
Yeah, on the Elon had sent that out, and I was just, thinking, in terms of everyone's going to go off and buy one, especially if it actually does ironing.
Well, I folded about 24 T-shirts today, so that could have been handy. But the Optimus might have taken a little bit longer than I did. But it's certainly pretty cool.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's pretty cool. I mean, there was some debate as to whether there was a human. I think a few seconds into the video, it might have looked like a human was kind of replicating what the Optimus was doing. And I think Elon Musk had said it had been specifically programmed to do that task, in a limited sense. And it doesn't generally fold T-shirts, but still impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, you're sort of thinking like only a few months ago, the thing could barely walk and couldn't really do anything. And now it's manipulating like fabric. I'm just going, well, if they can actually, do menial tasks around the house, I mean, how much we pay just for a robot vacuum that vacuums and mops and empties itself and all that sort of stuff.
You're on thin ice there, Paul.
Awesome. You're thinking,
Don't forget married.
Oh, am
No.
I breaking up?
No, it's all right. I mean, I've seen footage in a factory where it was something like meat patties or something, that there were two conveyor belts that came in at a 90-degree angle to each other, and there was a person in the corner whose job was to move whatever it was some food item or something, from one conveyor to the next, one to the next, one to the next. They were literally just a human-powered direction changer. I mean, mindless menial stuff like that would be a cinch for Optimus.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much its capital cost is, its running cost approaches zero, and its comparison to labor costs is just stupendous.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking it's a major opportunity sort of stuff. If they can work that stuff out. And talk about menial stuff, if they can replace some bureaucrats, then that'll be even better.
Now we're trying
Yes,
to upskill it, Paul, not downskill it.
Yes.
Well,
It might start
doesn't
arguing
require
whether
much to
it
actually
should.
get it going, eh?
Well, it might start arguing whether it should be made to fold that T-shirt, and couldn't you just use the T-shirt unfolded or something like that?
Or it could rewrite the ADR and get rid
Or
of
set
the
up
middle
committees for
support.
itself.
I've got an excellent way of folding T-shirts. That'll do. Throw it up and throw it.
I actually
The best
hang mine
T-shirt
with
fold is no
hangers, so-
T-shirt fold, guys. Just hang it up
Exactly.
on a hanger. The best
That's
fold
what I
is no
do.
fold. Hang it
I
up.
hang them wet on
Yep.
the line. Done.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now there was another video that I saw that is much closer to my little heart. Although I must admit, I did wince when I saw it, and as probably did many. And I'm just going to try and get it ready to be spooled up. And that was this. Let's see that again. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want that as a pre-delivery procedure to test that everything was installed correctly. But yeah, I guess it's tough, isn't it?
I'd be
I wonder
bricking it
how-
if it was mine.
I wonder how the smugglers bin with the lid on that coped with all those cinder blocks being dropped on it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, if you were a builder, you'd probably give the apprentice a bit of a smacking, because I mean you're damaging the cinder blocks. Like, surely you'd just
Exactly.
stack them by hand, you idiot, and you'd probably fit more in the Cybertruck.
And much, much more.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, it's the biggest problem with the Cybertruck is it's over there and it's not here. Although
Exactly.
Elon Musk did say that even though it would be very, very difficult for it to come to China, he did say maybe we could just send a couple for display purposes. And it's like, well, here's an open invitation to you, Elon Musk, to send a Cybertruck to the Perth showroom for display purposes, and then someone might borrow it for, I don't know, 10 days, perhaps. Promise to give it
I'll borrow,
back
I'll,
to do a demo.
I'll borrow it for 9 days.
Yeah, nine or 8 days. Come on.
Harold.
Say it again, Pete.
Don't try and
Days.
stand it.
I mean, you could have someone. No, that wouldn't be legal. You could have a couple of people sleeping in the back, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
could. Oh man, you could just drive it. Oh, anyway.
Yeah, you could easily have what? It's a 5-seater. You could easily have, you could have 5 drivers in there.
Oh, geez. God, that would definitely that would stink. Lots of Glen
you-
20, that would be.
Yeah, but the thing is, you could sell tickets to say everyone gets 1,000K leg, and you get 14 people, and they just fly or drive to each location where they change over, and then you just, oh yeah, it would be one of that would be like that would be the best news story that quarter in the whole Tesla sphere, to do that in Australia. And wouldn't that be a fantastic demonstration of Tesla's commitment to bringing Cybertruck to Australia? And it would eliminate all the naysayers immediately, even though it was a left-hand drive
Throwing
version
in
that
this
they'd
in
bring
like-
over.
I'll say throwing in this and leave.
Yeah, why not? You could do that too. You
I
could.
do fear, though, it might take longer than 10 days because everybody would want to stop and have a selfie.
Yeah, it'd. It'd be like the cows that you see in the Northern Territory. It's just herds of them, and there'd be people just flocking everywhere, going, "What the hell is that, bro? Like, what is it?" And yeah, you are right there, Steve. But I guess you could say, look, you can only take photos of it while it's at the charger, at the DC charger, and that would be it. But anyway,
Harold, really sad to have heard about Rob Mauer's decision. Such
yes,
absolutely fantastic content, high integrity, high value content. Don't think I missed an episode since watching my first one or listening to my first one. Yeah, he's on to bigger and better things. Really sad to hear that only 1 to 2% of people actually supported him financially through Patreon. I think that's, probably the average of, the sort of ratios that you get for similar content. But yeah, I suppose good luck with his new endeavor. But yeah, just really sad to hear that he won't be doing the daily episodes. Seems like he'll still be doing some analysis content, so that'll be good. But yeah, really sad to hear about the daily episodes being no more.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look, to effectively pump out 5 videos a week on a daily basis that were
Sorry,
only.
Pete, I just caught the tail end of that. What Tesla Daily, is it finished? Podcast?
In its current format, Damo, in its daily format, it is.
So you can see that the video is titled "The End," and Rob basically goes through some of the reasons, well, quite a few reasons actually, and the fact that it's draining. And I mean, I know myself. I mean, I just mess around with pretend news, but even that takes many hours to do. So I dare say he spends a sizable portion of each day doing the research.
He's quit his job a few years ago to do that full time.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And he's got better things to do.
He does, yeah.
And the thing is, what he did explain is he's got more exciting things. And he also explained that back when he started Tesla Daily, there was plausible question as to whether Tesla would ultimately be successful. And, Elon Musk has said many times that the Model 3 almost broke Tesla. And in fact, Tesla's almost gone broke several times even before then. And the production hell for the Model 3, there was a plausible path to Tesla not succeeding. And that's when it was appropriate to have detailed daily news. But as Rob Mauer said himself, he's more good at analysing.
He's better as an analyst rather than as a news reporter.
Newsreader, yes, exactly. Yeah. So I guess if you want to get a daily YouTube video feed, you can have a look at Electrified, which is a slightly different style with Dylan Newmas. Perhaps not as polished as Rob Mauer, but nonetheless.
I started listening to that one last week, Harold. It's not actually too bad.
That's right.
Matt Pocius is good as well.
Say again, Mark?
Matt Pocius is good as well.
Oh, okay. I've not heard him. I've probably seen him, but
Yeah, he's very good. Was one of America's first multimillionaire kids, multimillionaire kids sort of thing. I think he was about 18. He was to be a multimillionaire.
Yeah,
It's
right.
pretty good.
Cool. And of course, you've got if you want some
What's his
adult
name?
entertainment, you can listen to Stephen Mark Ryan.
Yeah.
But that
I love
takes a different kind of ear to listen to it. Although the Australian accent is
mindset.
refreshing.
What was that guy's name, Mark?
Matt Pokius, I think it's called. Hang on.
Pokius.
me
Here we
get
go.
You got him?
Matt Pokius on Tesla Stock and Money. That one.
That's it. That's the one. He's very good. And he also references most of the other people you know as well, including, what we've just been talking about.
Stephen Mark Ryan and others. Wow. So
Yeah.
I've never seen this guy. So there you go. That's a new.
He's very good. He's very good.
That's a good scoop. Thanks, Mark. That's good. Alrighty. Have we got anything else that we want to discuss? I don't think the Parkers are on yet. Oh, yes, they are. There they are.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
That's right.
Clearly the concert finished early, although then again, like Chuck, they are 3 hours ahead of the curve.
Well, we're calling from the distant future where finding food at 10 o'clock at night is almost impossible.
Well, pray tell, where have you EV nomads? Where are you sleeping tonight?
We are
Apart from your caravan.
in Sydney.
Sydney.
Sydney. We are 15 minutes from the centre, and we just drove over the Harbour Bridge. It was all good.
Excellent.
How
Excellent.
many kilometres have you
I think 10 and a half,
how many?
probably 10 and a half.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
So did you get a photo of the 10,000 kilometre historic
Did
mark?
you get a photo of the
Did you get that photo?
10,000?
No, because we were just too busy driving and actually forgot, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You had your eyes on the
I got
road, which is a safe
10,100.
thing to do.
I did. Where's the on the Tesla app?
Oh, there.
There, got him. Sorry, we're
Very-
doing this on telephone tonight because the caravan park doesn't have any Wi-Fi, so which sucks a bit.
Yeah, right.
Never mind. Better than my house at the moment. Apparently, my house has got no power or Wi-Fi, which also means no shower or no nothing, or telephone for that matter.
I've been to ask Shane, don't you have a Starlink on board?
No, I don't have a Starlink on board. No, I was actually talking about my house back home with a storm that came through the other day. It blotted out the power, and the power is still off. So all the backup power on the Telstra network has also shut down. And they, as far as I know, they still don't have power.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and pretty big outages. And I guess the problem is any food you had in your freezer is all gone.
Yep.
And I see all your parking's is gone as well.
My what? Sorry.
Your parking.
My parking. Oh yes, my parking sign. Yeah, the tree next to my parking sign blew over. Yeah.
Illegally parked.
I wish
yeah.
you told me, Shane. You could have borrowed my Starlink. You could have. I've got a spare one.
Oh, you're a bit late, Pete.
Now.
You're a bit late.
That would
I just assumed you had one.
Courier it across.
Yeah, I was.
It's almost worth it, let me tell you.
I was still organising caravan stuff on Christmas Day, so it wasn't super high on the priority list. But anyway, there we go. All good.
I made it this far.
Yep.
Well, tell us actually, what does this mean?
Just, I don't know. A few things might have fallen off. Might have just.
Oh, really?
Holding on.
What could that have been, Shane?
Oh, nothing that didn't bounce.
Nothing that couldn't be resolved.
What, you just rolled with it, did you?
We did just roll with it. That's right. We had a very, very helpful local that pointed out that he saw it happen, and we were only doing about 30 k's an hour or something. And he goes, "Oh, I reckon they might need those." So he actually followed us out of town. He picked them up and put them on the side of the road, and then followed us out of town a reasonable way, actually.
They are screwed on. They're just reinforced.
Yeah.
Just to explain what we're referring to, because it's a bit of an inside joke, is the two spare wheels in the back.
Yeah, there's a big
fell off.
threaded rod that holds them on, and the threaded rod had a fatigue failure after bouncing across the.
9,500 k's. Oh, no,
I'm pretty sure it was just the 500 k's across the Western Queensland.
Yeah.
that did it. And yeah. Anyway, so it cracked through, fell off. So fixed it up, put it back on, and then thought, you know what? How about we stop it wiggling? That way we won't get a fatigue failure. And as an added bonus, if anything does happen, they're not going too far. So
very good. Very good.
Little bit of security going on.
So refresh our memories. Where were you last week when you were last on Ask Us Anything?
Excellent question.
Bowen,
was it? Yeah. Yeah, so north of Brisbane, only just south of Townsville, actually. So we had to be in Sydney by tonight. So we kind of dilly-dallied our way down and checked a few things out. Spent a whole day in Cooroy, just north of Brisbane, and yeah, didn't move terribly far at all.
Then the weather was terrible.
Yep.
Yesterday and today. Well, yesterday and a half of today.
Yeah.
Not very good sightseeing with that.
No.
How are the superchargers?
Excellent.
Oh, superchargers are awesome. You can do that.
Oh, you
be caught up.
We
Yeah.
did that with our people in Rockhampton.
That was Rockhampton, yeah.
But that was
You were actually rock stars.
after Cooroy.
Yeah.
Rockstars in Rockhampton.
No, that wasn't after Cooroy. That was Rockhampton's well north.
Somewhere, and it was fun.
Yeah. But no, superchargers are great. There are some of the DC network chargers over here, the Queensland ones. Some of them are a little bit better laid out. But if there's not too many people at the superchargers, we can, where that photo there, we're blocking like all of them. But we've sort of figured it that in most cases we can pull in and block 3 chargers. And most of them over here have got like 6 or 7. So if we block the end 3, we can use the end 1, and we're okay. And there's a couple of them. There was one at the Wildlife Centre where we wouldn't have to block any at all, because it was, it was a nice big trailer long one, and it was sat halfway down. It was really good. I don't know if you got a photo of it there, Harold.
Oh, not handy, unfortunately.
You have to find a PodShare photo, but because we didn't get one, we didn't actually use that because someone else was in it. But
so, Shane, have you been to the Broadway Supercharger yet in the middle of Sydney?
Broadway.
No, we haven't charged anywhere in Sydney yet. Our last charge was.
It's a real awkward place to find.
Might avoid it then, huh?
Well, I think there's a new one that's been a couple of new ones in Sydney now. When I was over there a couple of years ago, it was a pain in the ass.
Which one was that? That was today.
That was today. I had to disconnect to do that one today.
Too many people there.
Yeah, too many folks. And I only got 64 kilowatts out of it too. That's how many people were there. But never mind. 64 kilowatts was better than none.
Yeah, that's actually a version 2 supercharger. So
yeah, I think it said it maxed out at 120 on place there.
So are you kids having fun or what?
Yeah, we're having great fun. Apart from the fact that it's in the future.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I just realised I didn't plug the car in.
Repeat after me, ABC. Come on.
Give me a moment. I'll be back. I'll plug it into the caravan and it'll be good to go in the morning.
Very good. Very good. Alrighty. Has anyone else got any other questions or comments?
Oh,
No.
Just a
Oh,
quick
last
one.
week I wanted to talk. Oh, go, Pete. Go. Sorry.
I was just going to ask, when are you guys expecting to be back in Perth at this stage?
hang on a sec. I've just done something weird to the screen. What am I doing? Don't know how to expand it.
While we're waiting, I've got a question. Does Auto Summon and Auto Park come standard when you purchase the Model 3 or Model Y? Do you get
No.
a complimentary thing, or is it full time, or is it?
Only for I think it's 1 month or 3 months if you use someone else's referral code. But no,
you don't get.
you
Pete,
got
the
one.
referral thing's changed. The buyer doesn't get anything now.
Actually,
So you get 5,000 points and that sort of stuff, or 10,000 for loyalty, but you don't. The buyer doesn't get anything anymore. So I'm not bothering telling them about referral codes.
So Brad,
Sorry,
you would, if you had purchased your car with a referral code some months ago, then
about 3
it
days
would
ago.
come with 60 days. Is it 60 days or 90 days?
It's 90
3 months,
days,
I think.
yeah.
Of enhanced
It was 90
autopilot.
days. Yeah.
Yep, of enhanced autopilot, and then that would be part of the package. You have to get enhanced autopilot to get. Is that right? To get summon and
Yes.
self-parking? Yeah.
Yes.
So if you had used a referral code in the recent past, and it was within the first 3 months, then you would have it as a feature, a temporary feature. Otherwise, if you buy a car now, order one now, you will not get any form of incentive as the purchaser. And then if you did want those features, you'd have to pay the $5,100, I think it is, for enhanced autopilot.
Oh, okay. So they've taken that complimentary of that 90 days away. Okay.
Yes, which sounds to me like perhaps they're working out they don't need those buyer incentives anymore. I mean, look, in my own very humble personal opinion, and it's only my personal opinion, I couldn't be happier if they removed the entirety of the referral process completely and permanently. But that's not everyone's opinion, and that's totally cool. But perhaps Tesla worked out they don't need to promote the cars much more than any more than they used to, or they can promote them less. So they'll basically walk themselves out the showroom. Now there was something else. So speaking of the referral program, so now the purchaser gets nothing. You can, people that wish to present cars to their friends can offer their referral code now for Model 3 and Y, but the person who buys the car gets nothing to do that. So there's no incentive per se for that to happen. The referrer, the friend who has a referral code, now gets half as many referral points. So it went down from 10,000 points to 5,000 points.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't even get them a wall charger.
Well, you can't anyway, because once you've redeemed 2 wall chargers, although this is a non-customer facing limit, once you've redeemed 2 wall chargers, you can no longer redeem any further ones. So, and unfortunately, you get people that will redeem these things and then put them on Facebook and Marketplace and other things, and basically turn them into cash. Which, if you're going to do that, you might as well just give them cash in the first place, or just don't give them anything. Because many of us would still advocate for Teslas completely for free. And that's what a lot of people choose to do. Alrighty. Chuck, have you, since you're from the future and also from I'd call it the first world as far as fast DC charging is concerned, have you got any updates on any charger activities or anything?
You waiting for me to mention the voting?
Well, there you go. The floor is yours, Chuck. So you're the voting man. Tell us what happened. It was only a few days ago.
Yeah. So when the previous round of voting started, it was mid-October. I think at the time I was just looking at my phone, just leaving Kalgoorlie on my way to Broad Arrow Cafe, which is about as inconvenient a time as you can get for someone who wants to, you know, get online and do all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm a bit busy now. So anyway, that was when the last round started. I didn't get around to organising a group voting ticket or whatever you want to call it for everyone to get, you know, consistent numbers of votes in. But I thought it was about a week and a half ago, and I thought, okay, I'll just see if we can get a bit of a boost before the end of the month or whenever it happens. So I started pushing just Mildura because that was in number 6 position. And it went up as high as number 2, which was good. That was after advertising it in a few groups. And then it dropped back down to number 6 again, because the Japanese voters must have realised what was happening and they sort of counted back with their own votes. And then the round ended and the announcement was that Mildura had reached number 5 position, only just. So there we go. There's a new yellow dot on the map.
Well done, mate.
Yep. So that's in a good position. I think I did shout out Harold's tactic of voting for locations that are just a bit further away from the existing network, because that encourages Tesla to build extra ones in between as well. So I think the deal was with Southern Cross. It means they'll build Meriden as well. Is that it? Is it Meriden?
Yes, Meriden and most likely Kalgoorlie.
That's it. Yeah. So so now we've got the next round started, and I was looking at what sites were there and put up a few ideas on some different forums to see which 5 sites should be in the top, in the sort of voting list. And unfortunately, we came up with 6 sites. So there was.
Before you do that, let's just quickly look at these sites.
Look at the options.
And, can I say that one of the most useless sites to vote on, and I know this is going to be controversial since this is mostly a WA-based program, is it's suggested that we should vote for Cannington in Perth. And to be honest, you could not waste your vote more than to do that, because Tesla is going to put a supercharger in Cannington anyway. Because we know they will, because it makes sense, because they've put a supercharger at North Coogee. There are a couple of other locations where they're also putting superchargers, and it would also make sense, and this is no inside information, I have no idea personally, but it just makes sense they're going to do that anyway. So why vote for a capital city location when what we need to do a road trip? Because let's face it, most of us in this room are not going to waste money charging on a Perth supercharger unless we just happen to be a bit short on charge and we just need a little dribble to get home. You know, we just don't need a supercharger in Cannington. Or should I say, we don't need to vote for one. Tesla knows there ought to be one there anyway. But yeah, carry on, Chuck. There are a few other locations.
Yeah, so I put a link in the chat there with the Word document that I was working on, the Google document that I was working on.
Okay, you happy for that? You happy for me to put that up?
Yep.
Or is that?
Yeah, pop that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure. Here we go.
Yeah. So this is the plan. So the idea is I wasn't sure which so I've got the 3 Port Wakefield, Campbelltown, and Narrandera, which is a new one this round, but it's one that Narrandera. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's in a good location. It's the intersection of 2 highways in regional New South Wales. So I've got those 3 as ones that are kind of, they match the, what would you call it, the informal guidelines that sort of
also, Chuck, the Narrandera as a place works well with Mildura as a supercharger location. You can get it on the Hay Plains.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and they're building a site at Hay as part of the New South Wales funding as well, so that'll sort of fill in that route. So the 3 that I weren't sure about, Cannington's there, Now that's included because it's the only WA site. Ipswich is there, and that's included because it's the only Queensland site that isn't kind of already near another existing supercharger. And Ipswich it's still urban Brisbane, but it's a bit out to the west. It's sort of where the other highways join up to the west. And the other site that's in the that I wasn't sure about was Leongatha in Victoria, which is a good location, but Victoria's already got 3 sites over the last year. So I'm kind of trying to be a bit fair as to spread them out. And so
can I humbly suggest that perhaps it's useful not to get too caught up on, let's call it fairness, because if one state happened to get several locations, what is really more important is the use of those locations for road trips. So that's where my argument is. I accept that, you know, Perth, you know, we've been the host of the world's loneliest supercharger twice. And, you know, we were dethroned by a supercharger at Kazakhstan. And then regained the same throne when 2 superchargers were installed at Kazakhstan. So, and like I said, Cannington, I get that you go, well, WA hasn't had much love, so maybe we should just pick what's the only option in Cannington. Look, to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with Tesla. I think they've cottoned on to. I was led to believe that there was a separate sort of like a separate budget for these outlying voted for sites, and that was good because that wasn't their standard business as usual budget or organic expansion. This is like a special budget. But it seems to me that perhaps Tesla have caught us at our game, and they're now saying, you know what, we're just going to suggest most of the pins are going to be places we're already putting it in. I mean, bloody hell, I think, isn't Rockhampton, or there are some that we already know has got state government funding, and we already know they're going to put it there. So why even bother voting for it?
That's right. At the start of the last round, Rockhampton was added. And within a month, it was spotted under construction. Then a month later, it was open. And it gets to the end of the quarter, and it's there on, I think it was number 8 or something in the Asia Pacific area, with all these votes that are complete waste because they could have gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they've actually done the same thing with Mildura. They've actually had after it won in the last round, they didn't take it out of the list for this round. So it's there in the list, getting all these votes. Just gonna have a look now.
It is, and I'm just going to bring it up, and it currently has.
If you switch it to the Asia Pacific section.
Sorry, Mildura, 231 votes.
It'd be hilarious to see what would happen if Mildura won again. Would that mean that they would have to install another site in Mildura, or double the capacity, or what?
Well, I'm not really sure, because I mentioned before that last time I checked Mildura before they closed the voting, it was number 6, and like one of the Japanese sites has just disappeared. Like the number 5 Japanese site just wasn't listed in the winning round, in the winning votes. So,
but Chuck, haven't we had an Australian winning site every quarter? So couldn't we infer that, regardless of the actual, let's call it APAC ranking, the highest Australian ranking site will always win anyway? Is that?
I don't think so. There was one round where we didn't. Or at least, so if you're looking in that Google Doc, I think I've got a list down the bottom actually. I just want to bring it up again. Yeah, so they're the winners from previous rounds.
So Q4, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So that's every quarter.
Yeah, so it says none for Australia for a couple of those.
Oh, sorry, Q4. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, and Q2, right.
And then Q2.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that shows the rate at which we got them. Only one last round, but that's better than none.
And I guess. So go, Chuck.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm kind of looking for TOCWA's endorsement for taking Cannington out of that top 5. I don't know. I don't know. That's something that
I've already voted for it.
Oh well, there'll be some. That's okay.
It's something that we'd have to run it round to committee, because I am not the whole committee.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is I'm comfortable to be to vote as again for road tripping sites. And as far as I'm concerned, Cannington is just not that. And since it's not that, and in my opinion, that's what really counts, and that, as we know, thousands upon thousands of Teslas are going to come to Perth, and there will be some people with certain lifestyles or certain use cases that will need supercharging in the city, but we know that Tesla will have to install them anyway, because they'll just decide there's a ratio of supercharger stalls to cars, and they'll have to abide by that. It's just like saying there's no point us suggesting to Tesla that they build a bigger service centre. They know that. What we need to do is, hey, and I think Richard in the room? The other Richard? Yes, he is. Mr. Chapman's in the room. Yes, if we were to suggest to Tesla that they should build a service centre in the Pilbara, that would be an achievement, because that would unlock a lot of car sales for those mining companies. But for us to just suggest the lowest hanging fruit, look, me personally, I'm comfortable if you ditch Cannington. I don't think anyone in WA could criticise you for saying, hey, let's do the road tripping stuff, because that's also what it's for.
There's also plenty of DC opportunities all throughout Perth.
Yes.
You don't need to use a supercharger. There's still plenty of other DC opportunities. It's where there isn't a DC opportunity that's the problem.
That's it. Like that's why Apollo Bay was so popular, I think, when that was up a few months ago. Because there's very little DC on the Great Ocean Road, even though it's close to Melbourne and everything. It's just a popular route, but it was underserved and had been for a while.
Just to bring in a slightly different to the conversation, where sites like Cannington or any other site within a major city like Perth that is very underserved with superchargers makes sense is rental cars. So I've had a couple of people that have cancelled their bookings because they looked on Blackshare or they looked on the Tesla website and said, oh, hang on, I won't have anywhere to charge the car. And I try to explain to them that, you can charge it overnight at your Airbnb. The problem is a lot of these people are staying at hotels or resorts or what have you, and it's just so backward. But you'll be hard pressed to find a hotel in Perth that has charging, or anything that's even half convenient. And so charges like Karrinyup and Coogee are absolute gold when it comes to rental cars in Perth. And obviously there's that market of people that live in apartments as well. But I completely agree with Harold's view. We've really got to go for the chargers that we really need most to encourage EV ownership. And when someone buys an EV, they're not looking at just a city car. They want to be able to drive it everywhere. And if you can show them that you can drive this car all around Australia, be it in 10 days, if you're a madman, that goes a long way towards, relieving some of those worries. But I'm a big proponent of, EV rental cars, because I believe that, even the half-hour test drive, it's just a bit of sensory overload, and people just sort of come away from it thinking, yeah, that was unbelievable. But just sometimes it doesn't get them to the point of actually going through with buying an EV. But if you drive it for 5-7 days and you see how it fits in with your lifestyle, you can, take it on a few day trips, do some city driving. You very quickly realise that, it's the future. And, most of the people that have rented cars from me that have never driven an EV have said, yeah, my next car will be electric. So, but just to get people to rent those cars in the first place in a city where there's no superchargers or where there's very few superchargers. And the problem with Karrinyup is, on the weekend, you just can't get into those superchargers.
I did find that when I was there. Just before I left, I thought I'd top up there, but it was full and there was a queue. So I went out to an amp pole at Belmont, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
no one using that.
So yeah, so just to provide a counter argument to that,
Yeah.
in Perth we do need more superchargers, but as Harold says, Cannington is a bit of a no-brainer, and Tesla will hopefully, no doubt, be doing it anyway. So why
and
wait?
James, I'm gonna come to you, James. But the quick thing on Cannington is, the parking at Cannington is the biggest cluster that you've ever known, that's ever been known to man or beast, and I think there are 3 lanes of Albany Highway plus a bus lane, and any time during popular shopping hours, it's just a chockers. It's just a gridlock. So could you imagine? And they probably will do this. They'll probably put the chargers at Carousel superchargers, and that would be a massive mistake. A little bit like Karen Up Shops. Karen Up Shops is just a madhouse anytime during any festive season. But and I dare say some people misuse the Karen Up supercharger as well, because they use it as a prime parking spot to do a bit of shopping. James, you had your hand up very patiently.
No, I completely agree with what both of you said. But as a typical mortgage person, you're going to charge at home. But Karen Up, Cannington, these are low-hanging fruit. Tesla's a big company. They deal with big companies. These are guys who got power. Put them in, but what it means is, like, people going to the shop to go, oh, there's a charger. It removes that barrier to entry. And especially, I think, Cannington, there's a whole lot of apartments down there. A lot of people with a bit of cash that'll buy the nice car. They'll buy the BMW. They'll buy the Volkswagen Golf, or they'll buy the Tesla, but they can't charge it at home. So I have no problem with saying, hey, they're Tesla corporate, works with corporate people and gets low-hanging fruit. Hey, we've got power, we've got parking. It's a dumb place to put it. Put it at Cannington, put it at the shops, put it at Burgoon, put it wherever, because people see it and it says, oh, I can buy a car. But we all know that the actual step is the gaps, fill those gaps, Northwest Highway, the Nullarbor Plain, get them filled. That's what we should be voting for, but not stopping Tesla from saying, hey, let's go and put more charges wherever we can easily put them.
Yeah, because it's not far from Vic Park, that sort of stuff. There's a lot of I've got friends that they live in apartments and that sort of stuff, and they will go there, but they need these charges out. So it's sort of like, I'm of the thing of stuff up Tesla at their own game and just use the club to vote them all in, because I'd rather just get as many as we can and just overload them.
If I have to charge it, Karen Up anyway, I'll go to EVgo and pay 20 cents less a kilowatt. But
exactly,
people see them and then they know, hey, that's the barrier gone. So if it's easy for Tesla to get corporate agreement saying, hey, well, because it looks wonderful to have a Tesla charger in it, it's another thing we can tick a box for. We're a great shopping centre. We've got this. I drove to South Perth the other day to use the new Coles local there, 4 chargers in the upstairs. Not Tesla, but 4 chargers, because I think it's cool to do.
And if you want to fly the flag and make it obvious that you can charge there and have it Tesla branded and all that, very good. If it's in a shopping centre, make it a desto. Put in lots of destos in the shopping centres. Put the fast DC chargers out on the highway, out on the main road. Even if it's in town, a fast charger in a shopping centre is a waste of everybody's time. You pull in, you plug in, 30 minutes later, 20 minutes later, you're done. You haven't even ordered your coffee yet. And it's just a complete waste of time.
Every time I've been to Karen Up and plugged in the same thing, you get a text, you go, oh shit, I've got to run down and move my car now.
You don't get the text because there's no mobile. You just get the idle fees. But you're absolutely right. It's in the shopping centres. It's not in the shopping centre's best interest to put in fast charges. They're better off putting in destination charges, exactly as you said. But James makes a good point. Yeah, James makes a good point. It's all about the optics. There's a lot of people that come and go through major shopping centres, and if it's in there,
if it's somebody who's not familiar with EVs and they see an entire wall of the shopping centre with a Tesla charger logo attached to a desto on it, they don't know the difference between a desto and a supercharger. You get the effect of the
Yeah,
optics. You get something that's actually practical to use.
But the first thing they do when they pose a question, the first question that gets asked 99 out of 100 times is, how long does it take you to charge? And if you can say, yeah, it takes 20 minutes max, or most of the time doesn't take longer than about 25 minutes, it's a big difference to saying it takes 4.5 hours on this charger, you know? So, you're right.
But incidentally, Cannington, the Carousel Shops, right behind it is a very sizable substation. So, as James said, there's no doubt there's enough power right at that location.
Is Carousel getting a supercharger, Harold?
No, it's in the voting. You can vote for it today, Damo, although I humbly suggest you should vote for some of the other rural supercharger locations, but the only one you can vote for in Western Australia is at Cannington.
Copy.
I did vote rural for the rest of my votes, so you know.
Yeah. Oh, now something else about voting, and I think, Chuck, you alluded to it with the Japanese, and in fact I did see a post on TMC that you quite sagely, you went to the effort to actually get daily voting scores, which oh man, you've got you've got almost as much time of your hands as I do. But
I had to give up after a few days.
Well, but I do like you got the data, and you actually showed that clearly the Japanese are using like an app where it says, or a bulletin board or something.
I wouldn't want to give up. I wouldn't want to accuse them of that, but the numbers do give a certain pattern.
Yes, because the votes for each of the locations, they all matched. There were 117 votes for this and this and this and that, and then 132 the next day and whatever. But having said that, of course, no one listens to this podcast except for Elon himself. Maybe us Aussies should apply a similar strategy, which is, hey, why not hold back the votes to let the opposition feel a bit lazy, and then you just dump the votes towards the end. Well, the problem is we don't know when the deadline is. As we can see, they don't actually have a cut and dried deadline.
That's right.
So,
where do you go again to vote for the supercharger, Harold? I haven't
just Google Tesla supercharger voting.
Right,
just Google that, and the page will come up pretty quickly. You need to log into your Tesla account. Through that page, it'll say to log. It says log in to vote, and you've got, I think it's 5 votes.
5 votes, and of course, Harold, you also have the option of suggesting a location, like we do with Norseman.
Yeah, and that's where I was, to be perfectly honest, I think the chances of more people voting for Cannington as a location than Norseman are precisely 0. So unfortunately, I'm going to be a little bit pessimistic here and say that, I would have thought Norseman would have been a voting location.
I put Norseman last time, like to recommend it or whatever.
Yeah, a few of us have.
Quite a few. I think quite a few did, notionally. I think many dozens, if not, I think many dozens. And I just don't see that many people would have thought to suggest Cannington, to be perfectly honest. So if it went on pure votes from, let's call it, members of the public, I think Norseman got ripped off, to be perfectly honest. And that would have been a brilliant location because, as we've said before, it gives Tesla the stretch, because basically Norseman would get them to fill back to Kalgoorlie and also to go forwards to Esperance, and then from Esperance backfill towards Albany, which obviously we know is going to be installed this year. Finally, the Albany supercharger.
And Kojonup.
Oh yes, and Kojonup is well underway. It's proceeding quite well. Well, there's holes in the ground, conduits out of the ground, and they've got to install a transformer, which is coming up in the next couple of months, and then we'll have to see how the rest of it goes. And obviously Kojonup's great for Albany because it makes sense to leave Perth, fully charged or so, blat it straight to Kojonup. Don't go past the wool store. Or sorry, go past the wool store. Top up at Kojonup, then you're in Albany. And then when you do the reverse trip, you skip Kojonup, going north, and top up at Williams before getting home, which is brilliant.
If you want an example of how not to do a fast DC charger, if you feel like how pulling up plug share for Marysborough in New South Marysborough, I think it's in Queensland still actually.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for PlugShare to check if I'm a human or not. It's slowly checking.
It's not necessarily the you can sort of tell the problem from an aerial photo. If you zoom in and zoom into Marysborough and turn on the satellite. There it is up to the right.
Oh yes,
You know the one
Shane.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I got
It's
rather angry at this.
Absolutely terrible. I think you've gone on funny angle, but anyway.
That's Maryborough. Is that Maryborough?
Yep. Zoom in.
No, that's
zoom
the
in on-
Queensland Electric Superhighway.
Yes, that's the one. Yep. How have you managed to make it all on an angle?
Oh, that's just a undocumented feature of PlugShare, I'm afraid. So
It's what it is it forces that intersect. What you can't see in these photos is just to the left of that yellow car there.
sorry, if
There's
I go, here we go.
Yeah, there's quite a busy intersection with a set of traffic lights. There
Oh,
you
yes,
go.
I've been there. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, so that intersection is really quite a busy intersection. It doesn't look it in that photo, but it is. And you're effectively forced to reverse park against the traffic into those bays right on the busy intersection. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, you're right. Because if it's green lights going this way, someone will turn at speed thinking they've got a free run, and then you're trying to, you've stopped here and reverse in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as Katanning, where you're forced to reverse diagonal park against traffic.
Or almost as bad as Dunsborough, where you actually have to drive against the flow of traffic for one of the bays there. It used to be the only bay, so you had no choice but to actually drive against the flow of traffic just to be able to have the cable reach.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. But there was a worse location. It was one of the shopping centres. It was a Tesla supercharger. I just can't remember where it is now.
Wasn't that Port Macquarie? I think it was Port Macquarie.
No, not Port Macquarie. No, not Port Macquarie, because that's actually quite easy. That's at the Vineyard on the
It must
Pacific
be.
Highway.
What's the other one?
There is one that it's in a shopping centre, and you've got to go to the yellow zone, and you've got to go to a certain bay, but there are two yellow zones to two buildings that are not connected on the same level, and there's no signage. I just can't remember what it is now, but it was. In fact, imagine you don't know where to go to get to the supercharger at Karrinyup, and you end up at the East Wing car park, and you drive around, and you could drive around all day because that car park is not connected in any way to the other car park on the west end of Karrinyup where the superchargers actually are. And something that you'll notice at Coogee North, the Coogee supercharger, is they actually have the little Tesla supercharger signs and a little arrow. So as soon as you go into the underground car park at Coogee, there's a little arrow that guides you to the left, and then another one further down that guides you to the right, and then you can see the superchargers. That's something that all of those locations need to have for every direction change, because let's face it, most of us are road trippers and therefore tourists, and therefore have never been there before, and you need to be able to be told exactly where these things are if it's in a multi-story or underground parking complex.
So Harold, I reckon the worst one The worst one
Go,
is the
Steve.
Broadway Shopping Centre I mentioned before. And
Where's that? I mean, Broadway.
You come into Broadway from, say, Southern or Newtown and turn right generally and head to the bridge. It's near the university, not New South Wales, Sydney University.
Oh, yes, that's probably the one. Let me just have a little look.
read the narrative where it
To
says
get- you
how to
need to
actually
en-
find it.
Ah, yes, that's the one. Yes. So, it's sort of in here, but you come in. I think it's this street here. It's
From the right,
unfortunately-
that street on the right, which is called Bay Street,
Yep.
you have to turn in and then you drive around a bit. If you
Yeah.
select it and then read the description. There it is.
You need to enter the car park from Bay Street, follow the Tesla charging. Yes, that's the one. Charges are on B2. That's right. But the thing is, B2 is yellow, if I recall correctly. There might be some images. Yeah, there's the yellow. That's all the yellow symbols, I think. But it's not visible from the outside. You can't see. Oh, there's a sign. That's interesting. I wonder if they've put signs up. But yeah, that one was really difficult to find.
I found a similar one to that the other day too. I can't remember which one it was.
So
We're gonna-
Shane, if you choose to use that one tomorrow when you charge, good luck.
I don't think I'll need to charge in. I don't think I need a supercharge in Sydney. I'll be full by the morning, and so yeah, I probably should be pretty right. Now there was one I found the other day that we pulled into, and you had to enter the parking lot by the correct entrance, because you get into the parking lot and then there's all these one ways, so you can see the superchargers there. Well, once you eventually found them, you could see the supercharger, but you couldn't actually get to it because it was one way past the supercharger, and you had to go re-exit the parking lot or the supermarket parking lot, go all the way outside, back through another set of traffic lights, do a U-turn somewhere up the road so that you're facing the right way to come into the parking lot, go in, and then you could go past it. But if there was anyone else who pulled up in the meantime, then obviously, you missed it. And that was the first issue. And the second issue was that this parking lot had such steep gradients in it that the car bottomed out as you went over the change from the ramp to the flat. It had such a sharp angle in there. Car bottomed out. I've had a couple like that actually.
Was that Maroochydore? Because that's also one that you need to sort of be almost lucky to find where it is, because you can sort of see where the stalls are, but you've got to know which entrance to get into to actually make it in there.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
Yeah, Maroochydore. Yep.
Yeah, because you can only come in one way into the parking lot, and then it's one way past the chargers.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm all for trying to follow the rules when we can, but I just went, nah, bugger it. I'm not doing any of that, and just went against the one-way arrow.
Very good. Okay, James, you had your hand up patiently.
Sorry, I just muted. I was just thinking, can't we get one of those semi-trailers? I put the link in the thing. Can't Tesla just send one of those semi-trailers with a mega pack that we could park in the middle of the Nullarbor or such? And the BMW Motorbike Club for 40 years now have done a border run where all the people from WA drive to Border Village, all the people from SA and over east drive to Border Village. 350 people arrive on motorbikes to Border Village once a year. We should get something like that going for Tesla and just get Teslas across the border.
Oh, imagine we spoke earlier about Tesla bringing a demo Cybertruck just so that it could drive around Australia. Imagine a demo Tesla Semi.
Yep.
Towing a Megapack with like they do in California when there's
Yeah,
when there's power
I'll put a link to
shortages.
that. Yes.
I haven't seen it. The link to it in the
link
chat. Maybe it
says
was
Coachella.
further up, or
Yeah.
did? Oh, no, that's a photo. Was it a photo? No.
No.
Maybe try and send it again. I don't
I'll
see it
send
in
it
the
again.
chat at the moment. But yeah, so imagine having a Tesla Semi towing
It's in there now.
there we go, towing a mega pack, and you could have a convoy of Teslas behind it, and the whole lot could go in unison, and then every couple of hundred Ks, the Semi stops, charges itself up along with a couple of dozen Teslas.
And
What
because
an
it's got such
amazing!
huge capacity, it could easily be charged.
while they're charging.
Yes,
Sorry.
yeah. Sorry, say that again, James.
So when you park it at a roadhouse, it can easily trickle charge off excess capacity, and then use a buffer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, there it is. What a great looking piece of kit that is.
Oh, wow.
That's the latest one. They've got one. They had one for 4 or 5 years ago. I'm sure that's just sitting in a warehouse somewhere with version 2 chargers. We'd happily have that one.
Well, there's 2 of them, in fact. There's one behind it.
Yeah.
Look at that. There's another one. But how amazing would that be? And
Parked aboard a village.
And then they would say, we promise, like once they do the demonstration, we promise to install one at Balladonia, at Majura Pass, at wherever, Border Village, at Nullarbor Roadhouse. And then say, oh, by the way, we're now launching the Tesla Semi. It is now available to order in Australia because, by the way, Australia has changed the width requirements. So we do permit 2.525.
252.
252.
I
Sorry.
thought it was 255, 2.55.
Oh, right.
255, yeah, 2.55,
Yeah, so it's
yes.
252 now. It's going to go up to 255.
255, yes. And it would have been nicer if it was 2.6, but 2.55 is sufficient to fit the Tesla Semi.
They could put solar panels for those things.
It comes that
You know,
that
the
comes
irony,
with solar panels.
that would actually be, that'll be cheaper than,
Solar panels are actually, there's solar panels mounted on the side, which I
on the
presume
top?
flip up. No, just on the side here, you can see that.
Oh, just a small system.
And there's
But
possibly,
like
yeah.
across the top.
You remember,
Yep,
it would trickle charge off excess capacity. So if they've got a generator or if they've got low capacity grid or some sort of mini grid, it could easily trickle charge off their excess capacity and buffer up, and they could chuck their generator off. And for the half dozen cars that arrive every day, it'd be more than enough. But as Harold says, if you put 3 or 4 of these across the gaps, suddenly you can do a Sydney to Perth truck, Tesla truck.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be a marvellous achievement?
Good idea.
And they could do it with their that photograph there is their brand new one they used this year, 2023, or last year, 2023 Coachella. They have previous versions, which obviously now are superseded, but I bet they're just parked in a warehouse somewhere in California wondering, what should we do with these?
Yeah, because they're not as good as the latest, and they go,
Yeah.
oh, well, yep.
Could easily be parked at Border Village, somewhere like that. Filling a gap.
Well, the thing is, at I think it was the Model 3 reveal, Anwar Beck, while Elon Musk was, maybe it was Model Y, I can't exactly remember. No, I think it was Model 3 reveal. Elon Musk was showing an animation of lots of supercharging worldwide, and Anwar Beck in the audience yelled out Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
And because he did that, and people heard it, you could hear it on the YouTube stream, and Elon Musk heard it and said, "Yeah, why not?" And so it happened. So
wouldn't it
there
be
was a
handy if the
sliding-
CEO of Tesla was Australian and she knew about the size of Australia?
Robin Denholm, you're an excellent
trash-
CEO,
Chairwoman.
but pro tip, please tell your boss, let's do one for Australia. Imagine how many people would do laps of Australia towing caravans if there were superchargers every 200 kilometres.
as drive-through.
Absolutely, drive
And drive-through. Just like they do in the first world in Norway, where they've got so many, they're mostly drive-through.
Exactly. We need it like a Peter Ship's background.
Yes, we certainly do. That's exactly what we want. And
all I'm saying is, if Tesla gets those old semis that are probably sitting in storage in California,
totally agree.
Sticks them on a ship, tip them across here. They're much better than what we've got. Park them. I'm sure some roadhouse would love to have that parked in their forecourt.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Well, imagine the power. Imagine the diesel. Yeah, imagine the diesel they would abate by having a solar array and 1 or 2 megawatt hours of battery storage.
Yep, they can still run that. They still have to run their diesel, but excess capacity trickles during the day, overnight. They can shut the diesel off.
Yep. Oh, dearie me.
We're well into the future here now, so we're going to have to call it.
Yeah, no worries, Shane and Sarah. So you're going to be home in the next couple of weeks, which is going to be awesome. Unfortunately, we won't have a Ask Us Anything there and then, but we'll definitely do a special on your journey when you get back.
Yeah,
so
give me a bit of time to recover.
Enjoy the
yeah, you'll have it. We'll give you a few weeks. And we might actually do a special a special presentation of your journey. So
no worries. All right,
stay safe.
We'll see you next week, I think, folks.
No worries. No, we won't have it Ask Us Anything next week, but next few weeks. But yeah, we'll see you next time on Ask Us Anything. And stay safe, you too. And once again, congratulations on your awesome achievement that's literally playing out day by day, and it's super exciting. Please, anyone that's interested, go to Atto Gals EV Adventures Facebook page. I think there are 1,400 members, which is fantastic.
1,500, yeah.
1,500, there you go. And by tomorrow it'll be 1,600.
Nearly.
Isn't there a bit of a race on? Wasn't there a ABC story about another family doing a lap right now?
Yes, there was, and we'll let the Parkers go. So good night, Shane and Sarah. And yeah, you're right, James.
It's in a
see you,
Kia
take care.
EV9.
Yeah, I had that at work because, of course, of my job. So everyone bloody peppers me every time there's a EV story. And I actually used Shane and Sarah's trip as a hold my beer thing and said, well, these guys are already doing it, you know? Really
Yeah,
cool.
and what's interesting is, they're doing it over 9 months, so they're averaging 50 kilometers of distance per day, and that's cool because I mean it's not they're not demonstrating that it can be done. They're just demonstrating that that's something they want to do, and good on them for doing it.
Yeah, it's good. Good on them. Cool.
Unfortunately, I think there's going to be some haters that are going to love criticising it because one of the stated aims was not to burn a drop of fossil fuel as part of their journey. And you know what the haters are going to say. You're going to say, well, how did you charge your car at Karratha or
blah, blah, blah.
Nanyatara or whatever? But hey, well, actually, Nanyatara is going to be mostly solar. There's a large CDI solar and battery storage system being installed. Ironically, I hear it's delayed for a few months because they are completely booked out because they've got other contractors that have completely booked out the site. I think they're doing roadworks or something. So unfortunately, that's going to be slightly delayed to be opened for the WEV network in Nanyatara. But anyway, yeah, so it is on the ABC website, and there's actually a video on YouTube that's been voiced over by Jonathan Beale, and yeah, good on them for doing the pop top. It's a slightly larger one than the Parkers, and they have modified it a little bit. And it's an EV9, Kia EV9 that they're going to be doing this. for a period of about 9 months. So
I think it's fabulous, and that sort of thing should be applauded. It's not necessarily a race; it
Oh, yeah,
depends on your aim. So
No,
I think it's just
Absolutely,
fabulous
yeah.
to see them having
Yeah.
a crack at it,
yes,
and be
yeah,
good
yeah,
for the
yeah,
kids.
exactly.
The kids will learn so much from that, and they'll never
Yes.
forget it.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely, yeah, yep, yep. And again, that's sand gropers doing stuff that the lazy people over east find far too daunting. It's a little bit like Europeans don't like to come to Australia because the thought of being on a plane for 17 hours is like, oh wow, that's just impossible. And for us, we've got no other choice.
That's right.
It's like
And we
people
take
who-
it for granted.
It's like people
It's
who
not
don't want
that
to
bad.
drive to Joondalup because it's too far and they feel like they need a passport. So
There's nothing there.
it's the second most important metropolitan area of Perth after the CBD.
Well, it's only two.
But it's
Okay,
like
moving
whenever-
right along, we've got Tom Kendall who's got his hand up very patiently. Tom, are you there?
gone to sleep.
Okay, I might just lower your hand so that then when you raise it again, I'll get straight onto you, Tom, once you're ready.
While we're waiting for Tom, I'll just say, as far as good as we think we are, it doesn't matter where I've been, as remote as I think I am, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Australia, miles from doing it tough, EV or non-EV, suddenly a Japanese guy turns up on a push bike.
Yep.
I got lots of those photos,
Yeah.
James.
Yeah. Middle of nowhere. You think, yeah.
I'm certain I saw I am sure I saw a gentleman with an Italian flag on his push bike, and I'm sure I saw him in some place of Australia, I forget where it was, on my third lap. Yeah, I saw him on my third lap, and I also saw the same gentleman on the other side of Australia on the fourth lap. Absolutely mad.
They love
But
it.
hey,
They've generally
what an
got a
adventure.
GPS on their bike.
Hey, you don't need a GPS, Pete. You just keep the ocean to your left. You just keep riding.
We've met several doing bikes. It's incredible.
And I've seen one gentleman actually solo, and it was a stinking hot day, and I actually saw him under a bush, panting like he was quite. And it's not one of these ones where you got your support car and all that sort of stuff. This guy was solo and that's hard.
Yeah. We've helped a couple out, a couple of bikes out with cold water and different things like that. Maybe a light meal because there was one outside Timber Creek. There's a camping area on the river just west of there, and there was one in particular. We met some of them about 3 times. Incredible.
Absolutely. Tom, are you back with us, or can you hear us? No, okay, we'll come back to you. Apologies, Tom. Please come back to us when you can. All right, we're into our last half hour, not even. So, any other comments, Carmen?
Yes. This morning my car had a black screen, and it was a bit freaky. Not quite sure. Has anybody experienced that after the last update?
Yep.
Not off the last one, but I've experienced it sporadically from time to time, maybe a handful of times in the last 70,000 Ks.
Okay.
And in my experience, it's just a random thing. And what I've done to fix it is just press and hold the scroll wheel buttons, and then the car will eventually do a reset. Not that you can really tell because there's nothing to see until it actually resets. So it looks like it's not working for a while, and then it usually comes back. So,
well, I really went out, and I thought I'd shut the door and come back in again and see what happened. And I just put my phone in as per normal and thought, well, while it's black, I'll wipe it and see what happens. And just waited, really, and it did come back. And then it drove normally, but it was a little bit freaky because it was very sudden. It's the first time for me I've had it for 3 years.
And as a reminder,
Yeah.
Carmen, you know, you've had some interesting experiences in your car.
So there's life after the black screen. I can't hear you.
Oh yes.
I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Siri, but that didn't work. So whoever's iPhone 8, Tom. No,
He was.
okay.
Was that
Oh,
me?
it-
Was it?
Yes, whoever that is. Sorry, who's that?
That's Tom.
Oh, Tom. Okay, yes. Sorry, yeah, Tom. That was you just saying something, or your phone was, or something. I'm not sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll wait till Carmen's finished, and then I know how to speak to you.
Great.
No,
No,
no.
no worries.
I'm finished.
Okay, no, Carmen's finished. So yeah, go, Tom.
Okay. Sorry, my phone. I'm using my phone and my computer because my son's been messing around with the computer, and you know. he
Oh,
does-
so you're Tom Kendall. Okay, so if you like, I can just kick off the other Tom, so it's not that confusing.
Well, it's just that I'm using the other Tom to see. You see. But
Oh,
anyway,
okay, no worries. No, that's okay. Go, Tom.
I listen on chat my experience looking around at tow bars for the 3, and I'm really just chasing someone who's, if anyone has, fitted the Australian-made tow bar, because I don't want to be the first. So that's really what I was chasing. I've heard from a couple of people who've fitted the Stealth and love it, but the Australian made one's half the price, and it looks to me like it actually is easier to use. So has anyone fitted the Australian made one?
Yes.
And you like it?
Yeah, I've got the Model Y, and I've had the Tesla genuine tow hitch fitted. You've got to go to Super Cheap Auto to get the square bar and the tow ball to fit
No,
in there.
He's got a Model 3.
Yeah, sorry, Nigel. Tom was
Oh,
referring
he's
to
got a
Model
Model
3. Yeah.
Model 3.
Tom, I don't know if I'm be much help. I've got the Stealth one on the Model 3 and the Tesla one on the Model Y. Yeah, they're both really good, but yeah, that's all I can help with, unfortunately.
So no one's fitted the Australian made one yet. So maybe I better spend the extra money for the Stealth.
Oh, I don't know, Tom. I mean,
maybe just keep looking.
yeah. Look, I see no
Jump
reason
on our
that.
Facebook page. Yeah, jump on our Facebook page and put a post up there. See if there's anyone that's fitted the Australian one yet. Jump on a few of the other pages, and yeah, you might come across someone.
The guy at TowLink really knows his stuff. So if he reckons it's good, he's the towing expert. If he's happy with it, I'd go with his advice.
So you've had good experience with TowLink?
Yeah, good experience with TowLink.
Yeah,
And they know towing. They know towing. They've been doing it forever. That's all they do. They're the experts in the area.
Yeah, I've been there twice, and both times I've had a good experience as well.
Okay, well, they're the guys that are recommending the Aussie one. So
Right, they installed the Stealth one for me.
Yeah,
the Model 3. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Very useful. Thank you.
No worries, Tom. And let's face it, you know, there's no doubt that the Australians know how to do tow bars. So let's face it, it's just different, you know, sizes of lumps of metal that have been properly welded together. It's all it really is. So
And
there's
TowLink
no.
have been doing it for like 30 years. So like,
Yep.
if they would
So-
recommend something that doesn't work.
I think that it's great there is an option, and most of us fitted the Stealth because it was the only option available. Now that there is an Australia one, that's great.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's very reassuring. Thank you very much.
No worries, absolute pleasure. Alrighty, has anyone else got any other questions or comments?
Harold, I don't know if we've got enough time, or unless someone else has other comments, but
We've got 20 minutes, Pete.
Okay. One thing I was thinking during the week, don't tell me that because I'll go on for 20 minutes.
Oh, that's why I laughed. I went.
No, that's why you laugh, Paul. No, but one thing that was interesting during the week was that Wall Street Journal article about Elon Musk being a drug addict and how they used the 1 hour long presentation that he did in 2017 at SpaceX. Rob Mauer had a fantastic rebuttal. I'll just put it into chat at the moment. See if I can put it in there now. There it is. If we've got enough time, it runs for, I don't know, about 2-3 minutes. But yeah, feel free to play that. It's just a fantastic rebuttal of some of the nonsense that traditional mass media, or some of the outlets anyway, are having to resort to try and stem the flow away from newspapers. It's absolutely
let's run this now. We'll see how this goes. Yep, should work.
Moving on, we've got a continuation of our discussion from yesterday about a Wall Street Journal report that Elon Musk had used illegal drugs. As I mentioned yesterday, one of the examples that the Wall Street Journal used as evidence of this was a SpaceX company update back in 2017. Specifically, they said that Musk was an hour late for this company update, that when he finally took the stage, he was quote-unquote strangely incomprehensible at times, saying that he slurred his words, rambled for around 15 minutes, and that Gwynne Shotwell had to step in and take over the meeting because of this behavior. The suggestion was that Elon was just so drugged out that he couldn't make it through the presentation. Well, SpaceX has the receipts. Last night, they posted the full company presentation that is being referenced in this article. I'll link to it in the description. You can check it out yourself. But as I was watching, I kind of kept waiting to get to that 15-minute mark and see what transpired, where ultimately Gwynne Shotwell had to eventually take over the meeting. Sounded pretty interesting, right? But shockingly, note the sarcasm there, shockingly, this moment never came. I'm going to play a clip from 1 hour into this company update. It's about a minute long, and let's just listen and see how Elon sounds in this clip.
And the I'm actually feeling pretty optimistic about the economics of Earth-to-Earth transport for a couple of reasons. One is that because it's moving so fast, you can get 10 times as much use out of it as an airliner. So if you go from LA to Sydney, it's about a 14-hour flight. You can't even do a round trip in, even if they did their absolute best, it would take more than 28 hours. And that's if they land and they get like Formula One style fuel injection. It's 28 hours. This is California to Australia, 30 minutes. So maybe 35, round up a little, whatever, extra 5 minutes of matter. But the point is that it's more than you can use this system 10 times for every one use of a commercial airliner. Like what? Wow! Like that's quite a revelation. So your capital cost is then 10 times better than an aircraft, provided we have truly achieved rapid reflight without refurbishment, which I'm highly confident can be done for Earth-to-Earth stuff.
All right, so yeah, there's a little bit of stuttering. That's normal for Elon. We hear that all the time. There's a little bit of slurring, but again, this is in 2017. This is during the most difficult stages of the Model 3 ramp-up. This is one of the most difficult periods of time in Elon's history, and he even mentioned in this update that he was extremely low on sleep. So is this peak lucidity Elon, peak enunciation Elon? Probably not, but is the only possible explanation for this drugs? Absolutely not. If this was incomprehensible to anybody, maybe those are the people that are on drugs. And again, this is an hour into the talk. There is no point in time where Shotwell in any way takes over the meeting. She assists with parts, and Elon asks her to take some pieces of it because he doesn't have as much familiarity with those pieces. Again, the focus during this period of time for Elon was very likely to predominantly been Tesla during one of the most critical periods of Tesla's history. So I'm not seeing how that would at all be surprising. In any case, reviewing this, it's very clear that the reporting from the Wall Street Journal, again, unsurprisingly, does not accurately reflect this situation. So if it weren't already the case, which it should have been, it certainly calls into question the other parts of the article as well. All right, so we'll move on from this, but again, the full video will be linked in the description. It's actually a pretty interesting video about SpaceX in general, so even setting this stuff aside, probably still actually worth a watch.
There you go. So you're right, Pete. I mean, clearly, well, the Wall Street Journal got it terribly wrong. And
but this is not the first time. And I mean, these are professional journalists.
Moving on, we've got
Yeah, sorry, that was yeah. No, it's clearly a pernicious thing to do, to literally make up history and invent falsehoods.
And look, if it was a mistake, if it was something that they got wrong inadvertently, then apologise, put a statement. But NASA has come out and they've said that SpaceX and Elon have not failed any drug tests, since they've been doing them in the last few years. But the Wall Street Journal, in response to the criticism, said they stand by their story.
Yeah, but they're journalists, and he's not paying for ads, so they don't like him. They're out to disgrace him whenever they can. It's ridiculous, and no one pulls them up on it, like Rob did there. But it's unusual. I can't think of an instance offhand where a journalist apologised. They don't do it.
Yeah, it's disgraceful. It's unethical. It's immoral. It's disgraceful. It's reprehensible. It's just.
Can I just say, working in technology adoption with Teslas, we're just entering a dangerous place where our good knowledge is needed, because we're just EVs are just hitting that. It's no longer the early adopters; it's going to early majority, and so what's happening is impacting people's. And so you would see like the Cadogans of the world, a lot of YouTube, a lot of news are suddenly getting a little bit more oxygen on their fires, because it's starting to actually impact on people. So we're seeing the stories about the cold weather up in Canada, which will never affect us, but it's just that oxygen. So we need us to keep on saying, hey, Tesla's dropped the ball with the baby carriage, done. Understand that. But the other stuff you're talking about is a furphy, but it's only because people actually see an impact now. It's getting to the point where suddenly when 5% of people stop going to the petrol station, that is a big difference.
Well, I took my son to the physio this morning, actually, on a regular appointment, and I was talking to the reception lady, and I was paying for the session, and just talking about Tesla, and you got a Tesla and this and that, and actually she had hired a Tesla. It was actually Chris Boehm's Model X, as a matter of fact. And I said, I used to have one of those and this and that. And she said it was amazing. And then the physio came out with my son and we're having a quick chat, and he goes, oh yeah, my brother bought one, like a Model Y, and it's just amazing. And I said to the reception lady, who's an older lady, and she said, I guess, they're pretty expensive. They're about $90,000. And I went, no, actually, it's less than 70 on road. And she was visibly surprised.
Yeah.
And I dare say, I said to her, go and do yourself a favor, book a test drive, you get half an hour unfettered use of the car. And notwithstanding, Pete, that you said that sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming, I am absolutely certain in the next few months that lady and her partner will buy a Model Y, because the cars are here, and they're no longer these exotic, theoretical things that early adopters buy because they're nerds,
But likewise, the rhetoric is just cranked up a link. Because as you said, they're not exotic, and they can go, everybody now knows somebody that has a Tesla. I just know my sister-in-law just bought a new Volkswagen Golf, and the story she came back and told us, we're not ready for an EV yet and the reasons were, and it was just shocking to hear the reasons that were being told by people, car salespeople. Because it's a threat. Because before it didn't matter. Some fruitcake's going to buy an EV, who cares? But now it is actually, hey, I'm losing sales, because they're a $60,000 car when you take everything into account. Yes, I know they're $70,000 on the road, but you compare them to a $60,000 car. Suddenly, if I buy that car for $60,000, but hang on, I can save that much money, I can buy this $70,000 car. I'm in a different ballpark.
Yep. And it's just like we all had Nokia mobile phones back in 2007 when a certain fruit company released a weird flat screen thing that couldn't even last a whole day on its battery life, whereas a trusty black and white screen Nokia could last 5 days 24/7. And
Oh, yeah,
I'm
and
one
you
of
can
those
drop it
late
as well.
adopters, and I waited until the iPhone 4S, I think it was, until I
Oh.
relented. And now we've all,
Harold,
although I just said
behind.
I'm a late adopter, and I was happy with what I had, and now all us lemmings, the entire world has nothing but smartphones, effectively.
I got you beat. I was iPhone 7.
I lined up.
Jeez,
I
Paul,
lined
where were
up
you?
Now I'm 15 Pro, so I
I
know,
was one
but
of
I'm at
those sad
15 Pro now,
souls-
so it's all good.
I was one of
Sorry,
those sad
don't worry.
souls that lined up for the first one for hours.
I think that makes a lot of sense,
First
Pete. That makes a lot of sense.
You're ahead of the curve.
He's ahead of the curve.
Uh,
Oh, did you guys hear about RAC? Got the
Yeah.
vans that have the batteries in it?
Yeah.
I said they must just have an EcoFlow or something.
Yeah, so they've got a recovery vehicle,
or
which is
roadside
very
assistance.
exciting. That they've announced that when your battery goes flat, never, they can come and
Yeah.
rescue you, and they can put 15
Exactly.
kilometers of range in half an hour.
But again, optics,
Yeah.
no one should ever run out of petrol, but I can't imagine how much of RAC's job is running around with little petrol tins of petrol. It's another thing when people go, I know when people, what happens when you run out? So it doesn't matter, RAC, they'll come and charge you up. They suddenly,
Only in the
fear is
cities.
gone. Yeah.
Only
Because you
in
can't
the
say, but it'll
city
never
they can't
happen.
do country.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
in regards to this, I put up a post on Twitter. Since we've got another 10 minutes, Harold, and we're desperate to kill some time.
We've actually got 8, Pete.
All right, I'll be quick.
We're not desperate,
read-
Pete. Okay, buddy,
well,
sorry.
if we've got some other content, if someone's got something more interesting,
Yeah, I mean, is this the drug? Is this continuation of the drug thing?
no, this is the RAC mobile charger.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
that's not the link you put on just then. So,
Did you want the link? No.
oh no, it's okay. I'll try and find it in the 7 minutes that we've got left. Perhaps you can just link it to me so that then I don't have to.
I think it's literally like the second or the third last post that I did, but
it's not actually.
I'll read it. I'll read it. It'll be quicker.
Unless it's a reply. Did you do a reply or was it a post?
It was a post. I posted the Channel 10 news article, the video of it.
Let's do this live then. So here we go. Here's your awesome Twitter handle, and you just
So
tell
go
me when to
down.
stop.
Go down.
Oh, there.
There's a Channel
Contrary
10.
to some
Yeah,
nonsense.
That's the one. Yep.
Oh my God. We're not going to read that.
Oh,
Pete.
Jesus.
So anyone that if you go to ahead of
Screenshot
curve
it.
on Twitter, yeah, you can just pause the video now. I'll just scroll once, and you can pause the video, and read what Pete said, because Pete's clearly got a premium membership because he can actually bash out more than 128 characters.
He's verified.
But yeah, so cool. Actually, I do remember reading this because you do mention that you've driven around Australia doing 13,600 Ks in one of the shortest range EVs and not run out once. And the point is, very quickly, I have actually run out of petrol on the Nullarbor, but that's because when I was driving between Perth and Melbourne to deliver a car, it was night time. I thought I'll get some petrol now. That roadhouse was shut. I went, that's all right, I'll go to the next one. That was shut. I went to the third one, that was also shut, didn't open for another 6 hours, and I thought, I'm just going to keep driving as close to Penang as I can, and I made it with about 15 Ks to go. So, hey, I knew I was going to run out, I made a decision, and that's what happened. So, EVs precisely will tell you when they're going to run out, and to be honest, you're an idiot if you deliberately just keep driving when your car tells you you're not going to make it. Just don't do that. It's not clever, it's not funny, and you're inconveniencing yourself and others in that process. So there's no excuse to say, I didn't realise the red light's been on for 2 days and I thought I'd make it. EVs just aren't like that. They're far more advanced than that. And look, James, I think you've said the RAC is, on the positive side, the RAC have found a tool to address a potential issue, and that's kind of their job. Of course, the haters turn it upside down and basically cite that as proof that EVs aren't suitable to use because, by definition, they must run out of charge.
Yeah.
But in practical terms, they don't.
I'll turn it a third way around and argue that is it a solution looking for a problem that maybe doesn't exist.
And
But
that's
look,
good. Yep.
The RAC app, I've just downloaded that RAC Garage app. It's completely useless. But if nobody downloads it, why would the RAC bother trying to support EV vehicles?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we're getting pretty short on time. Do we have any last minute things? Remembering, if anyone does watch the end bit just for some sage things that we sometimes do, don't forget we'll have a recess for Ask Us Anythings for the next, well, basically 4 weeks, probably. There might be a slim chance, and I will send out an email if we do have, perhaps it might be an unrecorded Ask Us Anything, because after all, the link still works anyway. But it just won't be. So apologies for people watching on YouTube. There certainly will not be any recorded Ask Us Anything episodes for the next 4 weeks. But we might actually sneak in a special, let's call it a closed episode with the Parkers to basically highlight their world first circumnavigation of Australia in a caravan. All right. Any very last minute thoughts, anyone, before we wrap this up?
I feel like I've missed something here because I was late coming in. The power's gone off at Peaceful Bay. Why are we not having Ask Us Anything? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm just having a little break for 3 weeks. And then on the 4th week, which is the 14th of February, frustratingly, for many people with partners and some without, that's Valentine's Day. And it would not be very romantic if it would literally entrench the view of many partners that they are truly Tesla widows or Tesla widowers if we hadn't asked us anything on Valentine's Day. So we're going to have a short recess. We've got a casual meetup next week at the Hillary's
Beach Club.
Beach Club.
I'm going to be in Perth. Yay.
That email's going out tomorrow, and we'll also try and get some more casual meetup events locations for the following 2 Wednesdays, probably. Or like I said, we might
for Valentine's Day. Do a casual meetup for Valentine's Day. Then pretend we've remembered to do something for our partners.
You are such a romantic, James. And on that note, we really do have to wrap up. So, Pete, how would you take out an awesome show like this?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and have a wonderful couple of weeks off. Do enjoy the casual meetup next week and any others that follow, and we will see you back with Ask Us Anything in the later part of February. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Night.
Yeah.
There you go.